Welcome in, everyone, to the Football Addicts Anonymous podcast. Great to have Logan here. Another Tuesday show. Had to move it. Got to keep these schedules around the crew. So,
Yep. We're freewheeling it. We're freewheeling it during the summer.
Yeah, the summer, anything goes in the summer. So, but yeah, we got a long show. The script was 7 pages today. So we'll try to get through it as quick as possible. It's only two of us, so there's not that many opinions. But yeah, we'll do some week 8 USFL recap. We'll look at week 9 real quick, and then we have some USFL news, some NCAA news, NFL news. We have a lot. It was like retirement city this week.
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus, everyone's retiring. And then we'll end up continuing our 8th round series with the NFC South. Got my NFC Championship Panthers hat from 2015. So yeah, that is what we got on tap for today. So, first game on Friday. Generals 7-1 now, 29-18 win over the Pittsburgh Maulers. Luis Perez, nice game. No turnovers. Nice, very nice completion percentage. 220, 1 touchdown. Good game. And then his running back, of course, Darius Victor, up for USFL Offensive Player of the Week from this game. 3 touchdowns. Great average, 5.1 yards per. And chipped in a catch for 19 yards there. And also for Jersey, Kavontae Turpin he keeps scoring touchdowns. I think he's on like a 4-game touchdown streak or something like that. The man has been going at 5'9", 180 or whatever he is, 160. And yeah. Knew the Generals were going to win. Pittsburgh's so bad.
Yeah, it's a tough look for the Maulers, and I'm feeling a lot better about I believe I picked the Generals as my midseason championship favorite. But as we're starting to get into the season here, I think it's going to be interesting. Do you know when the USFL is scheduled to wrap up, the championship game?
It is June. No. So we have week 9, 10, July 2nd, I think, is the championship game.
Okay.
Yeah, I know the playoffs are June 25th, that Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just trying to put together the timeline for training camp and when these guys could possibly get NFL positions. But it looks like that'll match up. You wonder how playing in it, even though it is a shortened season, might affect them going into training camp, not really having an off season, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I think it'll be the opposite. I think that they'll already be going. So, we always hear some guys come into camp not in shape, and then they die the first couple of days from conditioning. But these guys have been playing for, some of them, if they make it to the championship, they'll be playing for 12 weeks. Plus the 3 weeks that they were getting prepped for the season. So, they could have 15 weeks of football before training camp even starts. So
you could mid-season form, you could see maybe these guys are actually in better shape than some guys, and it is definitely speculation season. I was on Twitter before this pod started, and I saw a picture of Leonard Fournette looking out of shape and the comments were all about how his ADP is going to drop in fantasy leagues. So we are definitely in the meat of speculation season.
Hey, playoff Lenny, I was very happy to get a nice ROI on him. Traded a second round pick last year for him. Got a first round pick for him this year. So
nice. Stocks.
Otherwise in this game, Delvin Hardaway, 10 targets. But see, I think Roland Rivers has definitely been their best quarterback they've had. I mean, they had Josh Love early. They have Vadley as well. Even though, I mean, Roland Rivers completion percentage absolutely terrible, but I don't think he's been bad necessarily. It's just the fact that Garrett Groshek can't get over 4 yards per carry, 3.5 yards per carry.
Yeah, it's a terrible scene for my Wisconsin boy. That average is rough.
Yeah, and it's every game. So,
yep.
But yeah, Isaiah Henney came out of nowhere in this game, 6 for 60 and a touchdown for the Maulers. DeJuan Hines continues to be one of the best linebackers in the league, tackle machine. Drayvon Askew Henry as well, having a nice game. My defense player of the game, though, is DeJuan Hines. 15 tackles, 9 of them solos, and 2 tackles for loss. And got to shout out Ramiz Ahmed again. I think he was the one that kicked a 60-yarder last week, or maybe it was a 58-yarder. Comes back this week, kicks a 61-yarder.
Jeez.
The man's hitting them from deep.
Howitzer.
On a very bad team. But yeah, the Generals covered -8.5, over 42.5 hit. My birthday. We had 2 games on my birthday on Saturday. This did not go as I wanted it to. It was a close one. I really wish I would have been able to watch this game, but it was during the day, during our golf tournament, so I couldn't. But I mean, who would have thought? I remember saying last Tuesday, I mean, that this game was going to hit the over. I was skeptical because it was 44.5, but I was like, these two are the top 2 scoring offenses in the league, and they're going to score some points. And they did the exact opposite. Defensive showdown. The Stallions defense was very hard on Kyle Sloter. 3 picks in the game. Jamar Smith turned it over twice as well. And I really don't even know what the difference in this game was, except I do. Taylor Bertolette missed the extra point on their touchdown. And that put them up 9-3, I think it was. No, it put them up 9-7. And then Brandon Aubrey kicked a 29-yarder with like 1:44 to go, I think. And,
Special teams will kill you, man. Just ask the Packers. It'll get you in the end.
Yeah. So the extra point missed. Killer for New Orleans, who are now in a fight. We'll talk about it when we talk about the last game. But the Bandits have life now in the South for that last. There's only one spot left in the playoffs, and it's that second spot in the South. So, yeah. Oh, look at this. We have Mark Warren. If his associate AD of External Affairs.
What is up?
Shepherd University. Hello, sir.
What is going on?
I don't know the last time we saw Mark's face on the podcast.
I've been busy. I've been busy.
Yeah, but we've had you on before. It's just been in your car, your truck.
yeah, traveling. Yeah.
But yeah, man, we're on the second game of the USFL, talking about the games played on Saturday on my birthday. So, yeah, this game though, Bo Scarborough again. I mean, a little bit under 4 average, but he signed like week 6,
Yeah.
and he has been just a beast for Birmingham. So, I mean, the rich get richer, as they say. Marlon Williams had a great game, 109 yards, 7 receptions, 12 targets. Adrian Hardy, another guy that came out of the woodworks to score a touchdown this game. Defensively, my guy I'm going losing end. Our Georgia boy, Mark Davin Bellamy. He has had a great season for the Breakers. 7 tackles, 6 of them solos, a sack, tackle for loss, pass deflection, and a forced fumble.
Yeah, he's playing well, for sure.
And then, like I told Logan, Mark, the reason I put the kickers on here, it was the difference in the game. Taylor Bertolette missed the extra point when they went up. They went up 9-7. And then Brandon Aubrey came back late in the fourth quarter, cooked a 29-yard game-winning field goal with 1:44 to go.
It might have been the most exciting 10-9 game in football.
Yeah, man, I just wish I would have been able to watch it. This one was during the day during our golf tournament. So, Logan, you have any thoughts on this game?
Nah, man. I mean, Birmingham continues to find a way to win. They just, it's not always pretty, but they just do it.
Bro, if they go 12-0, I mean, you got to say it's rigged, but like,
All games are in Birmingham.
yeah, I mean, except for the playoffs. The playoffs, they will not have home field advantage. They got to travel to Canton to play at Tom Benson Field. So we'll see. We'll see how they do in that playoff game whoever they face, whether it's New Orleans or Tampa. But yeah, the Breakers did cover though, +3.5, under 44.5. Exact opposite of what I thought was going to happen. Second game. Oh no, we had 2 games on Sunday. Never mind. I thought we had 2 games on Saturday. But the first game on Sunday, Stars against the Panthers, and Case Cookus put on a show, y'all. Lit everyone up on the Panthers defense. Paxton Lynch didn't do bad either. I mean, he scored 3 touchdowns as well, but he turned it over 3 times. That's what we know Paxton Lynch to be, a turnover guy. So, but yeah, I mean, Case Cookus, if he doesn't win Offensive Player of the Week, I mean, I don't know what they're doing. But yeah, 5 total touchdowns, 365 total yards. He had a 79-yard rushing touchdown. Matt Colburn scored twice. He's been great for them. And yeah, one of the best names in the USFL, Pro Wells, caught a 51-yard touchdown from Case Cookus. Sewell scored, Gray scored, and yeah, it was just a monster performance by Case Cookus in this game on offense.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be maybe the best stat line we've seen from a quarterback so far in this league.
Yeah, for sure. And it's crazy because I feel like I have been touting the Panthers defense for most of the season because they have been good, allowing under 20 points per game. Just ran into a buzzsaw in Cook this game. Defensively, I'm going to go with Channing Stribling, corner for Philly, 5 tackles, all of them solos, tackle for loss, a pick, and a pass deflection. Kayvon Walker was close for Michigan, but Stribling leads the league in interceptions. He has 6 this season, which is just crazy, you know. Some guys get 6 in a whole 17-game NFL season.
And it's considered a good year.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, he has 6 in 8 games. Crazy for Channing Stribling.
I love seeing the retread of the names, Paxton Lynch and seeing his number compared, to somebody that hasn't been a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Mm.
Case Cook is Northern Arizona. Stars covered -6, easy money. Over 47.5, easy money as well. Almost by themselves, Philly. Last game here, and the Bandits get back to 500. 13-3, low scoring game against the Gamblers. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the Bandits now have life. It is do or die this weekend. I'll talk more about the playoff scenarios. Forgot to mention the Stars locked up their spot in the playoffs, that second spot in the North Division. But yeah, the Bandits have a chance now. They are one game back of the Breakers for that last spot in the playoffs, second seed in the South. And if they're going to make the playoffs, Jordan Thomas got to play better. It's absolutely terrible. Terrible game for him. But they got it done. The defense was swarming all day. There really wasn't a running game. I mean, Juwan Washington's running for 3 yards per clip. There's not a lot of stats in this game, but they did score a touchdown. Tampa did. And that was really the difference. Because they scored just one touchdown, 2 field goals. So, defensively, have to continue to talk about the linebackers. Donald Payne, we talk about him every week. I mean, he's 10 plus tackles every single week. Crazy dude. But defensive player of the game has to go to Chris Odom for the Gamblers. 5 tackles, 3 of them solos, 3 sacks in the game, tackle for loss, and a forced fumble.
Yeah, the defensive stats have been super impressive in the USFL. A ton of production, and I feel like there's a lot of guys that are going to be looked at from NFL front offices.
Yeah, I feel like it's very bad, though, in terms of looking at guys for the NFL, because as we know, there's a shortage of good quality offensive linemen, and they're not showing up in the USFL. So it's like, dang, bro, we were hoping that we could maybe pluck some people, try to get some guys that because we're running out of guys at the NFL level. So not looking good as far as getting some good offensive line play from the USFL. The Bandits covered -5.5, under 44.5. So we're split on the over-unders this week. So preview week 9. We have 2 games Saturday, 2 games Sunday. First game on tap is the Generals against the Panthers, 7-1, 1-7. Jersey is a 7.5-point favorite. Over-under is very high for that game, 47.5. I'm hammering the under. Maybe that's a bad move. I don't know. But the Generals are going to win. I feel like it's one of those games, though, again, where we're like, well, Generals don't have anything to play for. They're locked in. But as we saw, they were locked in this game, too. And they still beat the Maulers by 11. So I think it's kind of just, go on autopilot, take it, and, do what you got to do. Just keep winning games. And, I think it could be close. So Jersey actually only scores 22.6 points per game. Michigan, 19.4. The difference is the Jersey defense, though. They only allow 17 points per game. So I think they're going to give Paxton Lynch fits. And Jersey gets to 8-1. That one is 1 p.m. on NBC. Saturday night, we have the Gamblers 1-7 against the 8-0 Stallions. Is this the team that takes down Birmingham? I don't think so. Not without Clayton Thorson, who didn't play in this game for some odd reason. I don't know if he's hurt, but Kenji Bahar played all the snaps at quarterback. I really don't think Kenji Bahar gives you a better chance to win than Clayton Thorson does. I think Clayton Thorson's your best option for Houston. So if he's not playing, I think Birmingham crushes them. Because unlike Jersey, who's locked in, Birmingham, we said this last week, they still do have something. They want to stay undefeated. So that's at least something to play for, even though you're already in the playoffs. And yeah, they win all the preview statistics. Points for, passing yards, rushing yards, points against, passing yards against, rushing yards against. 16.8 points allowed per game. I feel like that number is going to go even lower when they play the Gamblers this week. That is Birmingham is a 13.5 point favorite. Holy hell. 13.5. That's crazy. Over under is 43.5. And that one's at 6:00 on USA. Sunday. This is the game. This is the game of the week right here. Tampa 4-4. New Orleans 5-3. This is where the playoff scenarios come in. New Orleans wins, they're in the playoffs. If Tampa wins and they win next week, Tampa is in the playoffs. So Tampa needs to win out. New Orleans just needs to win one game. And it has to be this game that they win. They can't win. They can't lose this week and win next week to get in. Have to win this game. Because this will split the season series between those two. And then it goes to division, which I can't see on the Fox Sports app because they don't have divisional records on there. If you go on to USFL.com, though, I'm sure they had the division records on there for you. But yeah, so I picked Jersey, picked Birmingham. New Orleans is a 3.5 point favorite. Over under is 43.5. But Tampa has been my team. So as much as I love Kyle Sloter, and they were my second team preseason. New Orleans wins all the categories, but I got to pick Tampa. I got to go with the Bandits. They're my team. So, Jordan Ta'amu, please play better, sir. That one is 4:00 on Fox. Y'all have any thoughts on that game, considering it's so massive late in the season here?
Yeah, I think it's probably the one with the biggest stakes so far, which is exciting. It's exciting for the league. And I kind of hope Tampa wins it just so that it keeps the the playoff implications going for another week.
Yeah. And the hardest thing is so actually I'm going to backtrack because I said that New Orleans couldn't lose this game and win next week and still get in. They could if Tampa doesn't win next week, which is going to be a problem for Tampa. They have probably the hardest two games left on the schedule. New Orleans this week, and then they got to play Birmingham next week. More than likely a 9-0 Birmingham. going into week 10. Todd Haley, you're up, bud. It's time to get your boys up for these games that matter. So, yeah, but I'm going with the Bandits. So, and hopefully, I'm hoping that we will be done in time that I can catch the end of this game. I'm disappointed in the USFL that they did not put this game as the last game of the week in prime time. I will say that, but it's fine. As long as I can catch the end of it and we have a close game at the end, it's all that I can ask for at that point. And then last game of the week, Philly, 5-3 Stars against the 1-7 Maulers. The Stars are 8.5-point favorites. 47.5 is the over-under. Again, very high, I thought. I'm hitting that under too. 47.5, I think. It's just too much. Even though we had a lot of points in that Stars game last week, I don't think that Roland Rivers will be able to score 26 like Michigan did on the Stars defense. So going Philly, that one. 7:30 on FS1. That's the only thing I haven't liked is that we've gotten these 4 teams that are just bottom feeders. Or 3 teams. Yeah, the Maulers, the Gamblers, and the Panthers. It's just like they've been done for a couple weeks now. So, but yeah. All right, that is week 10. My picks: Generals, Stallions, Bandits, Stars. All right, we got some USFL news here. So, interesting. The USFL players, they elected to unionize. They're going to partner with United Steelworkers as their bargaining partner, along with United Football Players Association. So that we've heard about possibility of college players unionizing, but I mean, obviously we already have unions in all the other major sports. So it's kind of a matter of time that the USFL, but I don't think I've ever heard of a minor league really unionizing its players.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting.
And I don't know why they needed the,
especially since it's only like what, a 2-year agreement for the league, so it's not like they have a lot of bargaining chips.
yeah, all contracts are standard 2-year contracts to start with NFL options. I was just confused on why they needed to partner with United Steelworkers. I didn't really understand that dynamic, but it's not my area of expertise. Is not collective bargaining. So I'm not sure why they needed to have a partner like that. Technically, they have 2 partners. Like I said, United Football Players Association as well. Bad news for Stars quarterback Brian Scott. We saw him go down pretty early in the season with a knee injury. He will remain out for the rest of the season. So Philly has 3 more games, 2 regular season, 1 playoff, possibly 4 if they can beat the Generals in the playoff game. But yeah, he is. They said he should be ready though for NFL training camp if he can get in on a team there. So they're hoping that he can be ready for that. Which I think as much as I think he definitely deserves a shot in training camp. If he doesn't get hurt, I mean, we could be looking at the Stars as really the number one competition for those Stallions. I mean, Brian Scott was lighting people up in the beginning of the season. So, yeah, definitely think when he's healthy, he can have a chance at a roster on the NFL. NCAA news. All right, Mark, you're up. It's coach time. Arkansas, they signed head coach Sam Pittman to a 5-year, $25 million extension. Much deserved.
Being from Southwest Missouri, I have a lot of ties to that area, and I have a lot of friends that are football coaches in that corner of Missouri, and some have moved on into Arkansas. And the one thing that he gets is the high school relationship piece with those coaches, and none of them have anything but praise. And I think he's going to be at Arkansas as long as he wants to be, considering that they keep being competitive.
Yeah. And now, I mean, they just got to take the next step. They set out that they wanted to get the, the 3 A's or something like that last year, and they got 2 of them, right? They just couldn't get Alabama. So, yeah, that's the next thing. Got to beat Alabama if you want to have a shot in the SEC, especially the SEC West.
Yeah, the tough side of the conference.
UGA. So I'm gonna take us to this picture real quick. I'm gonna find it on Google because I think everyone deserves to see this. UGA unveiled its new white-on-white alternate uniform for this.
Beast mode.
And I think they're absolutely gorgeous. They have the first ever primarily white helmet in program history.
Is it for the organ opener or something else?
Yeah, I don't know which game it's for. But I absolutely love them. The all white, I think, looks very clean. And I am not sharing. I forgot to share the screen. But there it is. Absolutely gorgeous.
That helmet is clean, man.
Yeah, and I wonder if they aligned with the Falcons for the 3-stripe thing. With the Falcons doing the black stripe. What was it? Was it black down the middle and then red and white and gold or whatever to honor UGA and Georgia Tech? So I'm wondering if Georgia Tech's going to come out with a helmet that has stripes in the middle too. But yeah, I absolutely loved the white helmet when they showed that. So
yeah, and in the top left there is Arch, the boy Arch, the crown jewel of the 2023 recruiting class.
This one, the him.
Yeah.
Hey man, he's back home, getting prepped for his season. They said he had a great visit this summer. So
he said it was the
go
best
get him, Kirby.
college town.
Go get him, Kirby. We need him. Okay, the 2023 College Football Hall of Fame ballot was released this past week. 80 players and 9 coaches from the FBS ranks, and then 96 players and 33 coaches from the other divisions.
And one of them is a former Shepherd's coach, actually.
Yeah. First-time candidates, though, we got some big names. Florida quarterback Tim Tebow is on there. Utah quarterback Alex Smith. Washington State quarterback Ryan Leaf. Oklahoma State wide receiver Justin Blackman, Oklahoma linebacker Rocky Kalmus, Penn State running back Kijana Carter, Oregon running back LaMichael James, Boston College linebacker Luke Kuechly, Oklahoma defensive lineman Dewey Selman, and Memphis running back D'Angelo Williams, all first-time eligible or first-time on the ballot, not first-time eligible, because some of these guys have been like Ryan Leaf, been out for more than 10 seasons. But yeah, that's the criteria. You have to be 10 seasons out from your last played season at your college and have at least one first team All-American selection for a player anyways. For coach, it's a little different. But I think for coach, it's actually harder. You have to have a 600 plus win percentage, having coached for at least 10 years as a head coach. And be, I forget, I don't remember what the other criteria was for coaches. I know it's different when your age changes, but yeah, there's some other criteria for some coaches. But notable players, though, I mean, I hate that I wasn't really as big into college football as I am now when Tebow was playing. So I don't remember too much, but I mean, I've seen some of his stuff at Florida. Just dirty.
I don't care if you weren't a fan of him. If you're a dog fan, Bama, LSU, he was fun to watch. Almost like Joe Burrow in his really good year at LSU. It was just, wow, I can't believe like the things he was doing. Just like
Alex Smith was the same. I didn't watch him at all at Utah. And I was 1 year old when Ryan Leaf last played in '97. So in college. Anyway.
Well, that was the year that I personally fell in love with college football because of Charles Woodson, which was my position. And then he was, the rival to Charles Woodson that year for Heisman. And then you got him and Manning in the draft, and we all know how that played out.
I do, however, remember Justin Blackman, monster mountain of a man at receiver out there for the Cowboys, Oklahoma State. Michael James, I remember that Oregon team with Marcus Mariota losing to Cam Newton in the national championship. That was crazy good. Rushing offenses against each other. And then obviously Luke Kuechly as well. I don't remember him too much at Boston College, although just for his Panthers days. It's great that he's on the ballot, though. It ties in nicely with our NFC South. Him and D'Angelo Williams there. So, okay. NFL news. Starting off on a somber note again. I mean, I feel like this is 2 shows in a row. Former Cowboys running back Marion Barber found dead in his apartment, 38 years old. I mean, one of the toughest runners you'll ever see. Field Yates, I think, was the person that put on a little clip from one of his games with the Cowboys, and it was like the hardest 2-yard run you'll ever see. Ran backwards like 15 yards and then finally turned the corner to get 2. It was absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's been kind of we've had kind of a rash of passings here, whether it's Dwayne Haskins, Jeff Gladney, and a lot of these guys are very young. Obviously Marion Barber, older than the other 2 guys I mentioned, but still very, very young. And yeah, man, I mean, I don't know the details surrounding either Gladney or Barber's death, but you just hope that the league is doing its best to prioritize player health, not only while they're in the league, but afterwards, especially.
Yeah, and I feel like the league doesn't really pay attention to guys until they're older, until they hit like 50. I think that's kind of when the league really picks up and like, okay, now you're getting to that age where you can start having a lot of problems. But like you said, I mean, guys have problems now. Guys, like Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott has talked about his mental health issues that he had when his brother died. It took a toll on him and stuff like that. And I feel like the NFL really doesn't look at the guys when they're young. And like I said, I think 50 is like a good age mark that, that's when some health issues start to come into play for a lot of people.
I know that, it's going to take, and you're seeing it through the years, especially from, when we were younger, you never heard anyone come out and talk about mental health or even have these commercials. But the more elite people like Dak come out and say it is going to throw a bigger spotlight on it. I know I just got a report. I get all the correspondence from the NCAA, and they had, key findings going into the 22-23 school year for every institution. And it was, we need more social workers and mental health counselors that are available for your student athletes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sure. On a sort of happier note, Madden 23, they released their cover and honoring the great John Madden. He will be on the cover for the first time. What was it, since 2000? That was the last time he was on the cover. So yeah, it's great to see them celebrating John Madden's life, putting him back on the cover for Madden 23.
Yeah, that was a slam dunk choice for EA, and now they just gotta make a game to match, and hopefully they pull it off.
I hope they put him back in commentating.
That'd be cool.
That's what I'd like.
That would be cool. That would be
cool.
Okay, so I mentioned the Falcons helmets, so I guess we got to go show those ones now too, right? The Falcons released their alternate helmets, and they are going back to red helmets, which I kind of like. I don't like them as much as the UGA white helmets, but there's the front. This was what I was talking about, the stripes. So yeah, okay, so no red stripes because the helmet's red. But yeah, black stripe and then 2 white and then 2 gold. The black and white, I guess, are supposed to, or I guess just the black stripe because Georgia Tech has white too. I guess the black stripe is supposed to be for UGA, and then the gold is for Georgia Tech, honoring those two, the only 2 Division I schools in the state of Georgia.
Yeah, I love it.
Side view there with the old logo, the 60s logo. And gray face mask was also mentioned in the release as well. There's what there you go. There's what they used to look like.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited about how the kind of relaxation of the one helmet rule is going to mean for new unis and new opportunities. Love that look. I just hope it doesn't get rid of their throwback black and white helmet, which I also love, even though it's a little more simple, not as flashy, but I also love that look as well.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely 2022, the first season where they can go back to having multiple helmets to pair with their throwbacks. And I know some teams are waiting till 23. I know the Eagles are one of those teams that are waiting till 2023 to bring a second helmet back. But yeah, I mean, it all depends on their contracts with Nike and whatever the specific team. So yeah, it's gonna make some interesting unis once again in the league, and I think it's good. The second round bids to buy the Denver Broncos took place on Sunday. No favorites have emerged yet in the buying of the Broncos. I forget who I heard was interested. I don't remember. But yeah, we're still waiting to see who is going to be the new owner of the Denver Broncos. So
I remember hearing some rumblings that Peyton Manning was possibly looking to put together a group to do it, but I don't know if that got any traction or what went on with that.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, Mark Cuban should just buy another team. Why not? But you can't be a majority
That's awesome.
owner in two leagues. That is a NFL rule. You cannot have a majority ownership in another professional sports team if you are going to own. Actually, no. I think it's just you can't have two majorities in the same league. Maybe. I don't know. Because I guess the Pagulas own the Bills, Sabres in Buffalo. So I don't know. Okay. Are we ready for the retirement parade?
Yeah, there's a retirement. There was a parade this week.
Starting off,
For sure.
very sad to see him go. The Steelers defensive end, Stephon Tuitt, has retired. He was the youngest one out of all of them. 29, not even 30 yet. 2014 second round pick for the Steelers, number 46 overall. Plays his entire career in Pittsburgh. 91 games, 79 starts, 246 tackles, 176 of them solos, 48 tackles for loss, 94 quarterback hits, 34 and a half sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 13 pass deflections, and the big man even had a pick. And he's one that injuries were a factor, but also he was another person who had a loved one pass away, and it just took such a toll on him that's why he didn't play all of last year. I think his was also a brother. Maybe. I can't remember if it was brother or mom. But yeah, he was dealing with that almost all of last year. So didn't play in 2021. But yeah, I think he was very good, and I don't think a lot of people knew about Stephon Tuitt because he wasn't named. I mean, obviously he's playing a difficult position to be named to the Pro Bowl and like an All Pro when you're playing the same position as Aaron Donald, Chris Jones, who are the other great defensive tackles in the AFC. Trying to think. I can't think of any D tackles in the AFC right now, other than Chris.
Forrest Buckner.
Yeah, but he was only in the AFC last 2 years. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, it's tough. And I mean, he never really had the sacks to be considered, I guess, that guy, one of the top dudes. But I thought he was a great player. And I think he's definitely going to be missed on the Steelers defensive line.
Yeah, he's a big part of their defense. And you wonder how much teams know that this might be in the works, and maybe it kind of motivated that selection of DeMarvin Leal in the mid rounds to kind of help replace that production. Obviously, you hope that a guy like that can develop into the kind of player Tuitt was, which is a tall order.
Next guy on the retirement train, the Fitz Magic show is officially over.
Oh man.
We will forever have this image to remember Fitz Magic by. And I know you guys probably know which one I'm about to show.
Mm-hmm.
We will forever have this image.
It's my favorite. It is my absolute favorite.
Ryan,
it's a work of art.
Retired.
Hang it in the Louvre.
What a boss move.
Drafted in the 7th round in 2005, number 250 overall by Mark's St. Louis Rams.
Yes, sir.
Played with the Rams. Actually, before I get to that, starting quarterback for 9 different NFL teams. That's an NFL record. Played with the Rams from 05 to 06. Got traded to the Bengals. Played there 07 to 08. His longest tenure was with the Buffalo Bills, 09 to 2012. Played 1 year in Tennessee, which I had no recollection of that happening. But he started in Tennessee, apparently, in 2013. At least one game he did. Played for the Texans in 14. The Jets 15 to 16. The Bucks 17 to 18. The Dolphins 19 to 20. And unfortunately only got to play one game with what was then the Washington football team last season before breaking his hip or dislocating his hip. So, yeah. I mean, what a ride of a career. No one will ever have 4-game spurts like Ryan Fitzpatrick did.
Man, he had some spurts, that's for sure.
And I remember when he was with the Dolphins in 2020, they came back against the Raiders because he threw just a prayer up, and the guy caught it. I think it was Devontae Parker caught it on the sideline, and they got into field goal range. Kicked the winner.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I saw a tweet. Someone said that Gardner Minshew now has to take up the mantle of fan favorite journeyman quarterback.
Yeah, I mean Minshew's sitting, but that's the crazy thing though. I mean Fitzpatrick, like he always got a starting job somewhere.
Yeah.
He was never really a backup, you know. Even in Miami when he started before Tua got put up in there, which I still thought was a very poor decision at the time. Considering they were rolling. They were rolling with Fitzpatrick. And then
I thought you were going to go there when you brought up the Dolphins, because that's what I remember most.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy that they just put Tua in. I was like, bro, what are you doing? Fitzmagic is on a roll and you're winning games. But yeah, they did that, and then had the weird 2020 where he was like in and out for Tua, and that Raiders game was won where Tua got benched. Fitzpatrick came in and won him the game. Almost did the same thing against the Broncos that season as well. But yeah, awesome career for Ryan Fitzpatrick. Next guy also had a pretty good career. I guess you could say that. Oh wait, I forgot to say the rest of Fitzpatrick stuff. 166 games, 147 starts. Record not good. 59, 87, and 1, but that's what you get into when you're playing with Fitzmagic. But he put up some stats. 34,990 yards. He's top 25 in all passing categories, I believe, in NFL history. 60.7% completion, 223 touchdowns, 169 picks. He also, this was, I thought, pretty good. 2,623 rushing yards. Fitzmagic moving some years. Some years he got over 500 yards rushing. 21 rushing touchdowns. That's pretty good, I thought.
I wouldn't have thought of that. Yeah.
And we will not see, this is not the last we have seen of Ryan Fitzpatrick, though. He is in talks with Amazon currently to have a key role this coming season for their Thursday night games, I guess.
Love it. Yeah, he's too good of a personality to be out of the game.
Oh yeah,
not yet.
I want to hear him on a mic. I want to see him in commercials.
Yep.
Okay, now let's go to one Mr. Frank Gore Sr. Drafted also in 2005, just like Ryan Fitzpatrick. 3rd round, 65th overall by the Niners. Played with the Niners from 05 to 14. The Colts 15 to 17. The Dolphins in 18. The Bills in 19. And the Jets in 20. Didn't play last year. He signed a 1-day contract to retire as a 49er, as he should. 241 career games. That's a record for a running back. 218 starts. 3,735 career carries. And this one I love. I love that he landed exactly on 16,000 yards. Like, that's so hard to do, to land on an exact number like that.
Nice, clean number, yeah.
Only Frank Gore could do that. The thing that was surprising to me, though, he only scored 81 touchdowns. That was kind of surprising, I thought. 434
How many
receptions, 81 rushing touchdowns. 3,985 receiving yards and 18 receiving touchdowns. So 98 or 99 total touchdowns in his career. Pretty low for as long as he played. But 5-time Pro Bowler, 1-time second-team All-Pro, and 3rd all-time in rushing yards.
I dislike to say this about somebody that's 3rd all-time in rushing yards and had a longevity, was in the league a while. But it wasn't I ever flipped out on the TV and was like, man, Gore's playing today. I really want to watch him get the ball. Where, throughout watching football, you think of LaDainian Tomlinson, or I grew up watching Emmitt Smith was even, different, or Le'Veon Bell in Pittsburgh. I just never had that attraction to watching Frank Gore, if that makes sense. I don't want to diminish what he's done. It just, in my pantheon of running backs, I don't even go there.
Yeah, I know for me growing up, it was AP. Adrian Peterson was the dude to watch at running back.
And maybe it's because I did grow up watching Emmett and Barry Sanders, and then it was LaDainian Tomlinson. Like, I don't know.
I don't know about you, Logan. Growing up.
Yeah, no, I
Marcus,
was a big
Allen.
LT guy. Loved LT.
Oh man, he was.
I mean, he's just a spark plug. Every time he had it in his hand, it was Electric City. For Frank Gore, Frank Gore, I think, is the most interesting case study in like, okay, is this guy a Hall of Famer or not? I was on Twitter and some people were putting up Ryan Fitzpatrick's stats compared to like Terry Bradshaw and trying to make it like it's just not. It's not gonna happen. Like as much as Fitzmagic is an exceptional human being, so much fun, not a Hall of Famer.
All of very good. All of very good.
Yeah. Frank Gore, I could see the resume. Third all-time rushing, the longevity, 5 Pro Bowls. He did make an all-pro team once. And then he's got the all 2010s team.
Yeah.
But I don't think that he's a surefire first ballot, kind of guy. I think he's one of those guys that maybe like has to wait a bit and then you kind of fit him into a class maybe to where you're like, this is where we see this guy, among the all-time rushing leaders. Yeah, I don't know. That's my opinion on it. But I totally agree with Mark's assessment where it's like, Frank Gore was never like that dude. Like he was always a very important part of the like Niners offenses, but he wasn't that, I guess, electric appointment television kind of guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he'll be in earlier than people think because he is third all time on rushing, and I think that'll be what the Hall of Fame voters see. That'll be all they see. They won't, and that's what my thing. Like I'm going back to the touchdowns. It's just 81 is just not enough. It's very poor. I mean, okay, you're running up and down the field, but if you're not scoring, you're not going to win games. So to have only 81 touchdowns over 16 seasons, that's not a good average. So that's my big sticking point for him. But yeah, he will be inducted into the 49ers Hall of Fame this season. Another 49ers center Alex Mack retired. Drafted in the first round in 2009, number 21 overall by the Cleveland Browns. Played for the Browns from 09 to 15. Signed with the Falcons 16 to 20. And then played with the Niners just last season. 196 games. Started them all. Also on the Hall of Fame's All 2010s team. And he's got quite a resume. 7-time Pro Bowler, 3-time second-team All-Pro. So Alex Mack, is he eventually Hall of Fame material?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't know how good Mack was until he retired. And then I started seeing, a lot of posts talking about how, he might have been one of the most important, people that Kyle Shanahan ever coached. I saw Brandon Thorne came out, I think, with like a highlight package. He does a lot of the kind of O-line highlights on socials, and how important Alex Mack was to anchoring an offensive line for some really good teams in Atlanta and San Fran this past year. And the resume does kind of speak for itself. And honestly, I think the most impressive stat is 196 games, 196 starts. That's impressive. Yeah. The best ability is availability. And that's not really a Hall of Fame type stat. You're looking at the all pros, the all decade teams, that kind of stuff. But when you really look at like who respects who around the league, Like that's like one of the biggest spots on a resume that like you can have.
Yeah, and I don't. The Falcons went to the Super Bowl in 2016, and I don't remember who else they signed that offseason. But Alex Mack, I think, has to be up there, if not the number one most important signing of that 2016 offseason that propelled them to that amazing offense they had that year and to that Super Bowl appearance.
Mm-hmm.
When the lights suddenly went out.
No, that wasn't that Super Bowl.
Yeah, the 49ers and Ravens.
No, the Falcons.
Oh, I thought you were talking about, sorry.
Falcons Patriots 2016.
That was a blown lead.
Yeah. Mark, you gotta tell Shepard to get to pay some more for their Wi-Fi. You gotta get that higher bandwidth. Okay. What'd you say?
Our football coaches are all watching game film, taking it away from me now.
Okay. Next retiring, last player here. Eagles guard Brandon Brooks retired as well. 2012 third round selection for the Texans, number 76 overall. Played with the Texans 2012 through 15. Signed with the Eagles, also like Alex Mack in 2016. Played with the Eagles 16 to 21. 114 games, 108 career starts. 3-time Pro Bowler, 1-time Super Bowl champ, won Super Bowl 52 with Philadelphia. I thought Brandon Brooks was a lot better than what his resume says. But, only 3-time Pro Bowler, never on an all-pro team. So, and he was a guy that he barely played his last 2 seasons with injuries. So he just could never recover from the Super Bowl season, 2017, really. But yeah, he had 16, 17, 18, I believe, were his Pro Bowl seasons. Those were his three years where he was just monster. Nothing on Brandon Brooks from y'all.
I think you have more experience with him than we do.
Yeah, I mean, just like the Falcons signing Alex Mack, Brandon Brooks signing in 2016, even though it was the next year that the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2017, definitely one of the biggest signings for them that won them that Super Bowl. Paving the way for that season, LeGarrette Blount, Jay Ajayi, that dynamic duo for their Super Bowl year, along with Corey Clement coming out of the backfield receiving wise. I think Brandon Brooks was a major contributor for that offense in their Super Bowl season. And we're going to go to Brandon Brooks' former coach, Texans coach Romeo Crennel, retired. 50 years of coaching between college and NFL. 11 seasons in college football, 39 in the NFL. I only listed his NFL stops. If you want to look up his college stops, you can do that as well. But he was never head coach in college. He was defensive line coach for all 11 seasons in college. Starting off, New York Giants special teams coach. It said special teams coach on Wikipedia, not coordinator. So I'm going to go with coach. I feel like we don't really hear about special teams coach, but that's what it said. So 81 to 89 with the Giants for quite a while, because then he transitioned the next season to defensive line coach for the Giants, 90 to 92. Went to coach with Bill Parcells with the Patriots, defensive line coach there, 93 to 96. Went to the Jets as a defensive line coach, 97 to 99. Was the Browns DC in 2000. I'm trying to think who was there in 2000. Was that Mangini, or was that too early?
I want to say Mangini.
Yeah, I can't remember who was the Browns head coach in 2000. I was only 4 years old, so
I don't want to say.
Mark was living it up in 2000.
Yeah, I guess. Chris Palmer was the head coach for the Cleveland Browns in the 99-2000 seasons. Total of 2 years.
Whoever that is. Never heard of him.
And that's not something you typically see, or like
and then you go,
head coaches usually bounce around and you'll hear about it.
So it was Belichick, Chris Palmer, Butch Davis, Romeo Crennel, and then Eric Mangini after that.
Okay. But yeah, he was Browns DC in 2000, went back to the Patriots to coach with Belichick as his defensive coordinator, 01 to 04. Those monster defenses for those Super Bowl teams, 01 to 04. 3-time Super Bowls there. Parlayed that into the Browns head coaching job. 4 seasons in Cleveland, 05 to 08. His only, or not his only. Yeah, he was head coach again. But his longest head coach stopped there. Went to, was out of football in 2009. Went to the Chiefs to be their DC in 2010-11. That was as before Andy Reid, way before Andy Reid, or one season before Andy Reid, 2 seasons before Andy Reid. But I don't remember who was there in KC at that time. Was that Schottenheimer? And then he was the Chiefs interim head coach in 2011. Got promoted to the Chiefs head coach in 2012, the year before Andy Reid. Andy comes in. Romeo is out of football in 2013. Went to the Texans and stayed there for the rest of his career. Texans defensive coordinator in 14 to 16 and 18 to 19 under Bill O'Brien. Was the Texans assistant head coach 2017 to 2020. The interim head coach in 2020 when when Bill O'Brien was fired midseason. And then was the Texans senior advisor for football performance just last season under David Culley. 5-time Super Bowl champ he was. Won Super Bowls 21 and 25 with the Giants. And then with the Patriots, he won Super Bowls 36, 37, or 38, and 39. So, yeah. 32 and 63 head coaching records. So, not that great. But, like I said, his longest tenure was with the Browns when they were the Browns. So, 2000s Browns. After the golden years of who was the quarterback that took him to the playoffs in the 2000s. I don't remember, but I think he had Jason Campbell in Cleveland when he was there.
Yeah, did he have Brian Hoyer?
I don't know. But yeah, man, Romeo is just he's a great coach, man.
That's a whole lot of years to give to
yeah,
sport.
yeah, to do it for that long and to do it well. Yeah, and I'll miss his smile, dude. I don't know, Romeo's smile. I don't know. It was something about it, man. He's just a little smirk that he does. Good dude. Yeah. Happy retirement, Romeo Cornell. I'm disappointed that Chris is not here to analyze this, but the Jets, they are adding 3 players to their Ring of Honor this season. They are corner Darrelle Revis, center Nick Mangold, and this one I chuckled a little bit. Offensive tackle DeBrickashaw Ferguson. The first 2 I understand.
First 2 I definitely understand.
I never thought DeBrickashaw Ferguson was that good.
It's all in the name, man. That's a Hall of Fame name, right?
Yeah, it is a pretty sweet name.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we had Revis Island. He was a monster for the Jets defense in the Rex Ryan years. And Nick Mangold. I mean, Nick Mangold, I think, could be a Hall of Famer eventually. Very good player. So, yeah, Ferguson, I didn't understand that one. I don't remember it. I don't think it was, but I had to put the question out there. Was DeBrickashaw Ferguson the guy on the butt fumble?
I was thinking that.
I can't remember who Mark Sanchez ran into, but I mean, that was absolutely hilarious. And if he is, that should be reason number 1 why he should not be in the Jets Ring of Honor.
Nah, it was Brandon Moore. He ran into Brandon.
All right. Still, I don't think he should be in the Jets Ring of Honor. When you have guys like Joe Namath in there. I want to get an interview with Joe Namath, see what he thinks of DeBrickashaw Ferguson being in the Ring of Honor. Okay, let's go down list of players who are and are not attending mini camp. Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray, he'll be there. He will return for OTAs coming up in a week or 2. Cowboys tight end Dalton Schultz, not going to be there for the rest of mini camp and OTAs. He's not liking where the contract talks are going. Just saw David Njoku get paid. So, yeah, Cowboys, you screwed the pooch on that one by not signing him before David Njoku, of all people.
I'll tell you what, if they dumped Cooper just to give that money to Dalton Schultz, oof.
Well, they got a month and a half now till the deadline, July 15th deadline for franchise players. So, Colts. This one was a new one that I hadn't heard of before, but Colts corner Kenny Moore. He will attend mandatory mini camp, but he is not happy with his contract right now. He wants to be paid like how he's played, and well-deserved, I think. Kenny Moore was a revelation for the Colts defense the last year or 2. And I definitely think he does deserve to get paid more than what he's making. I don't know what he's making right now, but definitely not what he's worth.
And he becomes even more valuable for them since they got rid of Rocky Sin in the Yannick Ngakoue trade.
Yeah, definitely. Patriots left tackle Isaiah Wynn. He will also be present for mandatory mini camp. Not happy with his contract either. That one I think is a little bit more murky. I don't think Isaiah Wynn has played outstandingly well. He's been hurt too a little bit. So unfortunately, he's a Georgia guy, right? Right, Mark? Isaiah Wynn? Am I thinking of the right dude?
Yeah, he's from Georgia.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that Georgia boy's not working out right now. The 49ers, they have excused quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo from their mini camp. He is currently in Southern California, rehabbing his shoulder after surgery, and the team is continuing to try to find a trade partner for Jimmy G. So I understand. I agree with what Kyle Shanahan said. He's like, why would we pull him out to mini camp when he can't throw anyways right now? So it makes sense. And they don't want him throwing. They don't want him throwing and possibly having to hurt the shoulder that he just had surgery on.
Mm-hmm.
Decrease in value.
Yeah. If he comes out and he's throwing ducks, you're not going to get any trades for that.
Yeah. Also with San Fran, wide receiver Deebo Samuel. They said he is going to show up to mini camp. Still wants to be traded. Still not happy with the contract. So he will be there. Defensive end Nick Bosa will also be there. He's not happy with his contract either, apparently. So, sure. Niners just break the bank. Personally, I wouldn't pay for Debo. I would pay for Nick Bosa, but that's just me. Granted, they don't have anyone to replace Debo, so you're kind of in a sticky situation there for John Lynch. The other young wide receiver that wants to get paid, Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf. He's on the opposite spectrum. He's not going to be there. He's not going to show up to minicamp for Seattle.
Wow.
So makes sense. I would, unlike Debo, I would pay for DK. More of a traditional wide receiver. And I like DK's size, speed, weight, size, speed, height combo. Fantastic.
Yeah. He's got less of an injury history than Debo does too.
Yeah. And just when he takes his shirt off, I mean, that's half his contract right there.
Right, yeah. $100 million abs, yeah.
I still can't, dude. When Pete Carroll took his shirt off for DK's draft interview at the combine, that was absolutely hilarious. Okay, the Eagles. They named owner Jeffrey Lurie's son, Julian Lurie, VP of Business and Football Operations Strategy. This was a move that was expected to come eventually. The 26-year-old, he has been continually been groomed for whenever Jeffrey Lurie eventually steps away from the team and the day-to-day operations. So, dude, I told my parents, I was like, that's it right there. He's the same age. All I got to do is make friends with Julian Lurie, and I'm in.
Yeah, all of the speakers that have come to our speaker events at MU Love, it's who you know, and who knows you.
It's the same thing I say with Chase Elliott all the time. I'm like, bro, Chase is the same age. All I got to do is go down to Dawsonville, Georgia, say hi to Chase Elliott, and we become friends. I'm into NASCAR. We're good. Also with the Eagles, they had a lot of maneuvering this offseason, their front office. Howie Roseman is doing a lot of reconstruction there. Obviously, they did not lose, or they did lose Andy Weidel to the Steelers to be their assistant GM. But they added Brandon Hunt from the Steelers to, I believe he was named the VP of player personnel. But they had two promotions. They promoted VP of football ops and strategy, Alec Hallaby, and VP of football ops and compliance, John Ferrari, to assistant GMs. So they're co-assistant GMs, which is interesting. Pyramid construction by Howie Roseman to have two assistant GMs. But yeah, that's how the Eagles are running it now.
And I liked how the Eagles did this. They basically just like came out and like press released all the socials, like, hey, here's what we did, and here's like what our front office looks like. Usually it's like a series of like different like reports that like come out, and you got to like piece it together, or like go to like the team like website to like look at the front office roster. So I liked it that Jay just like came out and was like, hey, here's literally, it was like a Word document, like with all like the positions and like who was filling them. So
well, yeah, and then just like Julian Laurie, I just got to go in and pluck the names of the guys and gals that got put into scout positions and like LinkedIn them. Like, hey.
Right, yeah. Hey, what's
can I shadow you, please?
Yeah, right.
Okay, let's get into some player transactions here. Bills linebacker Andre Smith. He has been suspended for the first 6 games of 2022. PED suspension for Andre Smith. So Bills losing a linebacker there. Not going to be as much of an impact defensively. I don't think. I think he was going to be a big contributor on special teams. So it might hurt there a little bit. And then one of the biggest stories of this past week, the Rams. So Sean McVay's wedding was on Saturday or Sunday. I don't remember which day it was. Yeah, Sean McVay officially is not a bachelor anymore. He got married on this weekend. And Aaron Donald was, obviously star-studded event. Aaron Donald was there. OBJ was there. They said he did I forget what the wording was that McVay used, but it was like a kind of impromptu free agent visit. And McVay said, you can't go over there with the other coaches. You're only allowed to talk to me. And then he said that if you're coming to the wedding, you're signing with the Rams. That's pretty much what he said. But Peter Schrager was there. I know him and McVay are good friends. I don't like McVay, but that's fine. But yeah, the Rams got their guy back, faced their franchise back. They signed defensive tackle Aaron Donald to a rework deal. He had 3 years, $55 million left on his current contract. They added $40 million to his deal, which now totals $95 million through 2024. He's going to make $65 million by 23, which is all guaranteed. And then he will make $95 million by 24, which in 2024 he can either retire or come back for that extra $30 million, which is guaranteed. He now becomes the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, and he is the first ever non-quarterback to reach $30 million per season.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
It is crazy, but I do think it's one of those situations where it's just completely worth it. I just think you do the deal. And I love this. I love this for him too. There was that retirement rumbling, and as much as I hate having to Packers, Rams, kind of NFC contenders, rivals, conference rivals. As much as you hate playing against Aaron Donald, I mean, he's just good for the game. Like, you don't want to see him out of the game. And if he had retired after this season, I still don't know if I'm putting him above that pantheon of like Lawrence Taylor, Reggie White, like the two. I mean, I think he's close, and maybe you put him in that tier, but I don't know if I put him over those guys. But I think even just like one or two more seasons, I think that solidifies him as possibly the greatest defender in NFL history.
Yeah. I mean, he's only the second player to win 3 Defensive Player of the Years, like the LT.
Mm-hmm.
And I do hate that every year. I'm like, bro, why is Aaron Donald in the conversation? For one, he should not have won that third one. Should not have won that third one. TJ Watt absolutely would have won it in 2020, not Aaron Donald. TJ Watt should be back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year right now. And he should be going for his third one this year.
I agree with that, though.
So, but anyways, yeah, I mean, as much as I hate him every time, I mean, he produces, he doesn't stop. Yeah. And if the Rams didn't have it, I mean, what are the Rams without Aaron Donald defensively?
Yep.
They have nothing. They lost Sebastian Joseph Day in free agency.
Yep.
And I mean, they rebuild every year with late round picks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And that entire defense is like built around how can we get Aaron Donald in one-on-one situations up front. Like if you look at, I had a chance to like go through some of their, 21 tape. That D line, there's movement all along the line with stunts, with twists, with all that. And the entire purpose of it is so that they cannot double team Aaron Donald. It's how he got one-on-one with Quentin Spain on the last play of the Super Bowl and just completely put him in the blender. So, I mean, yeah, he's as important as a player can be to their franchise.
Yeah. The Browns signed restricted free agent running back Dearness Johnson to another 1-year deal. 1 year, $2.433 million, more than $900,000 guaranteed. Sure. I'm surprised he didn't get picked up by anyone. I don't remember the Browns tendering him. And for what he put out on the couple of games that he's got to start and have a major role, I mean, he produced crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe it's a situation where a guy feels like he's better in their system. But even then, I mean, he's going to be their third back. So
banking on that Chubb and Hunt get injured again like they have in the last couple of years.
Which, I mean, that isn't a crazy thing to bet on, I guess. I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. I feel like he could have pushed for number 2, number 1 running back on maybe some other teams.
I would have taken him on the Eagles. That's I was thinking this weekend just randomly about, the Eagles off season. I was like, that's the one position we didn't do anything to. They
Yeah.
didn't add anything to the running back room, which I heard was a possibility this offseason. They didn't do anything to it.
Yeah. I'm a Miles Sanders truther, mainly because he's on my dynasty team. But yeah, I mean, you need depth at that position. I know they're probably pretty high on Kenneth Gainwell, but for whatever reason, that running back room just hasn't seemed to, put it together. And a guy like that could very well carve out a big role, I think. But
a couple other deals here. The Vikings, they signed Dolphins wide receiver Albert Wilson to a 1-year deal, which I thought was intriguing because they just signed Dede Westbrook back from last season. I think they signed him. I know we said last week he was visiting or worked out for them. Maybe he didn't sign. Maybe they liked Albert Wilson better. But I think it's a good signing. Vikings were a team that needed wide receiver depth behind the top two. So,
yeah. And I think they have it now. I think KJ Osborne, Albert Wilson, that's a pretty good number 3, number 4, wide receiver. And unless Adam Thielen takes a dive, because he's getting older, that's a really good receiver room.
Yeah, you got BC Johnson there as well. I love my guy Chad Beebe.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's still there or not, but yeah. And then finally, the Bills took a flyer on Jags wide receiver Tavon Austin on a 1-year deal as well. I mean, how does he even make the roster in Buffalo? I don't know. But
yeah,
they're the opposite of they had a ton of receiver depth.
yep.
So no clue how he makes it, but only played 8 games last year with the Jets, or not 8 games. He only had 8 receptions with the Jets last year, I believe. Speaking of the Jags, quarterback CJ Beathard, the number 2 to Trevor Lawrence this season, carted off at OTAs. But I got an update today. They said he's good. He has a groin injury, not as serious as they thought, not going to require surgery. So good news for CJ Beathard and the Jags quarterback depth there.
That's good. I like CJ Beathard. He had some pretty good games there in San Fran when he was there. I don't know if that's the Kyle Shanahan effect, probably considering that he's now a backup in Jacksonville. But
I'll never forget, dude. I bet on the Eagles when the Eagles played in San Fran, and the Eagles got them, and I was like, the bet God that night, because it's like, bro, I called this. The Eagles will go into San Francisco and beat the Niners, and they did. The only reason I was confident was because the Eagles also went into Lambeau and beat the Packers by what's his name, getting the pick on Aaron Rodgers in the end zone.
I'm trying to remember.
Craig James.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, that was just crazy. And then they beat the Niners. Alex Singleton, pick 6s, CJ Beathard. Maybe that was Nick Mullins, but I know both played in that game. So, yeah. And then last thing here, the Colts. Interesting nugget from Colts camp. Linebacker Darius Leonard underwent back surgery. Is expected to be good to go by training camp, though. So, something to check on later on in the summer. That's all the NFL news we have for today. So, NFC South draft recap, the 8th round we are in. Panthers, first round pick. It is offensive tackle Ike Mekwanu, NC State, number 6 overall. Falcons, They went wide receiver Drake London, USC number 8. Saints had 2 first-round picks, wide receiver Chris Olave, who they traded up for with the Commanders out of Ohio State, number 11, and offensive tackle Trevor Penning, Northern Iowa, number 19. And then the Bucs traded out of the first round with the Jags. I believe it was the Jags. And they got in the second round edge rusher Logan Hall out of Houston, number 33 overall. So starting off with Carolina, my Carolina Panthers. Ekwonu at 6, didn't have a second round pick because of the Sam Darnold trade. Third round, quarterback Matt Corral, Ole Miss, number 94. Fourth round, linebacker Brandon Smith, Penn State, number 120. Didn't have a fifth rounder. 2 sixth-round selections, edge rusher Omari Barno, Virginia Tech, number 189. Guard Cade Mays, Tennessee, number 199, the Tom Brady selection. And then seventh-round corner Kalen Barnes out of Baylor, 242. I'm going to say I absolutely love the Panthers draft. First off, to get Ekwonu at 6 was great. Matt Corral at 94, I thought was a steal. They had to trade up to get him. But that was one of my guys. That was, I think he was my second guy that I liked other than Kenny Pickett. Because as I said, coming into the draft, I wasn't a big believer on Malik Willis, especially as high as people were putting him, even though he ended up in the third round of the Titans. But Matt Corral, I'm very excited for. Maybe not this season. Maybe he does get in this season, but we'll see. I like that they drafted a Penn State guy. I thought it was too high for Brandon Smith, though, in the fourth round. I thought they could have got him if they would have traded down, or maybe just waited and maybe not got him at all and just drafted someone else. The Amari Barno thing, he was sitting there for a while. I was watching the ESPN broadcast, and he was Mel Kiper's number 1 for like a round and a half, maybe 2 rounds. And they finally took him. I mean, he ran, what was it? What did he run? Like a 4.3?
4.3. Yeah, I got it up right here. 4.36.
at what?
246. Yep, 6'4", 246. I think someone joked they should switch him to like tight end or wide receiver.
Yeah, fastest defensive lineman 40 ever at the combine. And then Cade Mays, I thought was a steal in the 6th round. I was very high on Cade Mays. I hated when he transferred from Georgia to Tennessee, but I thought Cade Mays was great, and I think he could have a shot to start. I'd have to get the Panthers depth chart up to see what it looks like on the interior there. But that was one of the positions they definitely needed to work on, was interior offensive line, as well as left tackle. But I really liked, and that's not just me being biased, liking the Panthers. I did really enjoy their draft.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you. And I think a lot of people did, because, I mean, obviously nobody expected the quarterbacks to fall like they did. Basically all of them, except Pickett. But I still don't think that changes kind of what we should feel about them pre-draft. Like, we all knew these were guys with flaws, but who also had big upside and could maybe hit. So I love them taking Ekwonu, first offensive tackle on the board. I think he was deserving of that. I think he's everything you want in a left tackle. And I do think it was the right pick instead of trying to force a quarterback pick there, because the value just wasn't there. And that decision, when it was made, it was kind of like, all right, we made the right decision. We're getting a franchise left tackle, and then we just kind of have to swallow the medicine, and we're either going to trade for Baker trade for Jimmy or just tank with Sammy. But I mean, they were patient and they ended up getting Corral, who early on in the draft season, I had mocked him to the Panthers at 6. He's somebody who I think has something there that you could tap into. There are some plays on his tape that he makes where you're just like, okay, those are NFL throws and those are like high upside throws. I think he's going to be a guy that Matt Rule is going to love. Jury out on if Matt Rule will be there when maybe he's playing time. But I mean, I think Matt Corral is a guy who could push for starting playing time by midseason. Especially if they're kind of, middling and they've already seen what they've seen with Sam Darnold, and they want to see what they have in Corral, which I think is a very big possibility. But outside of those two, I also like the rest of the draft. I think Brandon Smith, where they got him, I think was fine because he's a high upside athlete. And Amari Barno, he's a guy I loved during the draft process. I ID'd him very early on, watching, I think North Carolina, Virginia Tech was one of the first games of the college football season. And I remember tuning in for that. And he's one of those guys that just stood out like in live scouting, like on defense, just like always around the ball. So high upside athlete, guy who always gets around the ball at 189. And again, even if you did like, okay, he's not making it at edge because he's a little undersized. I mean, move him to tight end, move him to wide. He has the stats, or he has the athletic testing to where he could potentially do that. So, yeah, I mean, I love this draft. I think it was a slam dunk, and I do think it helps set them up in the future.
Yeah, I thought they did nicely with limited draft capital.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the only guy I didn't mention was Kalen Barnes. Really, he's not even listed on the. Oh wait, there he is. Depth chart. He's 4th string corner. I mean, they're fine. They're fine at corner. I highly doubt Kalen Barnes makes the roster. They are.
He might. Matt Rule's Baylor boy.
They're pretty good at corner right now. I think, anyways. But yeah. Okay, the Falcons. It's always a good time to talk about the Falcons. So they went, like I said, Drake London, wide receiver, USC, 8th overall. 2nd round, edge rusher Arnold Ebiketie, Penn State, number 38. Also in the 2nd round, I don't know why I did this. I wrote round 2, round 3 multiple times. Also in the 2nd round, though, linebacker Troy Anderson, Montana State, number 58. My dude. 3rd round, 2 picks, quarterback Desmond Ritter, Cincinnati, number 74. Edge rusher Deandra Malone, Western Kentucky, 82nd. Didn't have a 4th rounder. 5th round, running back Tyler Algier, BYU, number 151. 2 6th rounders, 2 Georgia boys, guard Justin Schaefer, number 190, and tight end John Fitzpatrick, number 213. Did not have a 7th round selection. Go, Logan.
So I actually really like the Falcons draft. It's very interesting to me what they've done with their wide receiver room, because going into the offseason, it was clearly the worst in the league. And what they've done is they've turned it into a basketball team. Like, I think like their shortest dude, I think maybe outside of like Olamide Zaccheaus, is like 6'3". Like they got Edwards, they got Auden Tate, Kyle Pitts, tight end, but I mean, he plays some outside wide receiver. And now Drake London, who's 6'4" and like a half. I think it's interesting. I think, you just say, hey, Marcus, just throw it up. One of those guys is going to be in a 50-50 situation. So I do like the fit. I also liked the Arnold Ebiketie pick. He was a guy who some people had as a first rounder. I didn't scout him, but I know that he has high upside, especially athletically. Same goes for Troy Anderson. They needed to replace Foye Oluokun. And I think given Troy Anderson's athletic profile, I think he could step in and help mitigate that loss. Foye Oluokun was obviously a very good inside linebacker. I don't know if Troy Anderson will be that right away, but I think he helped mitigate those losses. And I think he could develop into that kind of player. And then Desmond Ritter, I mean, again, we talked about, the quarterbacks falling, but I think this is a good fit. And I think it's interesting because I know a lot of people comped him pre-draft process as kind of like Marcus Mariota, kind of guy who has rushing upside. He might not be a prolific rusher, but he has rushing upside. And I like how he can throw. To me, he has the best feel of like when to use touch passes of any quarterback in this class. There's plays on his film where he just drops it into like every level of the defense. And that's something you have to be able to do at the next level. It's not just all fastballs. You have to have a feel of like, okay, I got to drop it into the bucket. So I liked that pick. Deandra Malone, again, targeting another high profile position. I love Tyler Algier, and I love the fit for them because they have Cordarrelle Patterson as kind of their scat / wide back, and now they got kind of a 3-down bulldozer and Tyler Algier. So I think that the Falcons are still, from a roster perspective, going to be in contention for the number 1 overall pick next year. But I think this draft really did help set them up for the future and kind of gave them some instant impact guys on their roster.
Yeah, I am on the same boat. And I initially, when I didn't even like look at the Falcons draft, I was like, Drake London, yeah, but you needed a lot more. So, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, absolutely. The first 2 days, I think, were home runs on every pick. Drake London, my favorite receiver in the draft. And then Arnold Ebiketie, obviously, I'm in state college. I'm at Penn State. He's a starter right away for them at one of the outside linebacker spots. And then you look at I was on Troy Anderson the entire offseason. Watching the FCS in the spring last year, and then watching Montana State get to the national championship this past fall was great, and he was a big contributor for them. So even though he's not listed as a starter right now, Deion Jones is out for until training camp. So at least, so those are reps that Troy Anderson's going to get. I'm not saying that he's going to beat Deion Jones out. They also signed Rashaan Evans, but I think he's got a good chance to be a starter this season, even if it's not week 1. And then Ritter, yeah, I liked Desmond Ritter. I mentioned Matt Corral was probably my second guy. Desmond Ritter was probably my third guy. Just the experience alone for Desmond Ritter being a 3-year starter?
I think 4 years. I think he started as a true freshman,
Yeah, 4-year starter at Cincinnati. And that's kind of the was it the Bill Walsh kind of thing with quarterbacks.
Yeah, it was either Bill Walsh or Bill Parcells, I think.
Yeah. Have to start at least
Mhm.
2 years, I think it was.
Yep. Yeah.
And have a certain number of games under their belt in order to be on their board.
Mhm.
So I love that. Love having the experience. Just needs to get the language, the verbiage of an NFL offense under his belt, and I think we'll be fine. We'll see if Marcus Mariota struggles. Marcus Mariota's had injury issues throughout his career.
Mhm.
So we might see Desmond Ritter a lot earlier than we think.
Yeah.
Even though I think the Falcons' offensive line is pretty underrated, and I think that they're going to be able to protect Marcus Mariota pretty well. Deandra Malone, I was pretty high on him ever since I watched him. I watched him a little bit at Western Kentucky, but then watching him go through the Senior Bowl, he was very good at the Senior Bowl practices, and especially in the Senior Bowl game. So I think that's the guy that could eventually be a starter as well. They signed Lorenzo Carter this offseason. He is the starter right now. Malone backing him up. And then, like you said, Tyler Algier could be the starter next season. 2023, they signed Damian Williams in free agency to back up Cordell Patterson. I don't think Cordarrelle's going to be there past 2022. So we could see Tyler Algier, Desmond Ritter combo in the backfield in 2023.
Yep.
Because they can get out of Mariota's contract after this season. And then the rest of the guys, the two Georgia guys, I really didn't know too much about them. John Fitzpatrick, I had no clue.
You guys got a stacked tight end room.
I didn't really see a need to draft a tight end.
Yeah.
They had other. Why did they not draft a second receiver? You mentioned the receiver issues.
Yeah.
Why didn't they draft a second receiver, especially just a flyer like that late? I mean, they also could have drafted a defensive lineman. They drafted 2 edge rushers, but I mean, they are hurting on the interior. I don't know why this is. I never know why ESPN puts people where they do on the depth chart. But Nick Thurman is your starting defensive end opposite of Grady Jarrett. I have no clue, nor have I ever heard of Nick Thurman. But they have other guys that I think would start over him. Marlon Davidson, Derek Tangelo, Vincent Taylor, Anthony Rush. Those are guys that I think would start over Nick Thurman. So, but yeah, I think interior defensive line could have been a spot they could have went other than tight end. The Justin Schaefer selection was whatever. They needed some depth. So, yeah. Oh, we didn't get your grade for the Panthers. Do the Panthers and the Falcons.
I'm gonna go. I mean, I think I go A with both. I think you summed it up perfectly. They did a really good job with limited draft capital.
Yeah.
And they just didn't force any selections, which I think is the right strategy for a team that is, I don't want to say rebuilding, but just not, you don't want to force anything when you finish in the top 10 of the draft. So I liked that. I'll give it an A, especially from a team building perspective. And I mean, I got to give an A to the Falcons too, because again, I just think they got really good value while attacking positions of need. Like you said, I think maybe they could have. I maybe would have liked to see Kyle Hamilton maybe more in consideration, maybe some more higher positions of value, I guess, corner, something like that. But I mean, they really needed wide receiver. I loved Drake London. He was my wide receiver 1. And, I liked the pick. So I'm going to go with an A for them as well.
Yeah, I think their 6th round, they could have granted the punt god was gone after the first pick of the 6th round. But they do not have a punter. I will say that with confidence right now. There's 2 guys listed right now. Who I, again, just like Nick Thurman, have never heard of these 2. Dom Maggio and Seth Vernon are the punters listed on the Falcons depth chart. Maggio out of Wake Forest, and Vernon out of Portland State. Maggio's in his first season. Vernon is a rookie.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, maybe they can get Cordarrelle Patterson to play that too while he's at it.
I know some people will probably be thinking, what do you mean one's in their first season and one's a rookie? That's the same thing, isn't it? But it's not. If you're listed as your first season, you have been on a practice squad. You just have not been on a team in long enough in order to accrue an NFL season. But you're not in your first season as a rookie. First season after your draft year. Okay, let's hit the Saints here. So we had 2 first-round picks for New Orleans, post-Sean Payton era Saints. Wide receiver Chris Olave, Ohio State, number 11. Offensive tackle Trevor Penning, Northern Iowa, number 19. Second-round corner Alontae Taylor, Tennessee, number 49. Didn't have a third, didn't have a fourth. 5th-round linebacker DeMarco Jackson, Appalachian State, number 161. 6th-round defensive tackle Jordan Jackson, Air Force, number 194, and did not have a 7th round. So just like the Panthers, they had even less draft capital. Granted, they had 2 first-round picks because they're traded with the Eagles. I'm gonna say I really their first 3 did it for me. Not as high on Olave as some other people were. I know Chris desperately wanted him for the Jets. They got his teammate, so I think Chris was happy with that. But Penning, though, loved it. Penning a big need was the left tackle. They had to replace Teron Armstead, who went to Miami in free agency. I have no clue why Trevor Penning isn't listed as a starting left tackle right now. He's behind James Hurst for some reason. I don't know. But has to be the guy at left tackle. Alontae Taylor in the 2nd round as well. I love that. The Saints secondary moves this offseason were, I was just like, they're all over like they just keep bringing in secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but do you need to rush the passer if you can cover for 7 seconds? I guess not, right? Mm-hmm. The 2 guys late, I didn't know too much about Jordan Jackson out of Air Force. I did watch DeMarco Jackson a bunch at Appalachian State. I did not necessarily think he was a 5th round. I thought he was going to go later, 6th, 7th, maybe even undrafted. I know, I believe he didn't get drafted in a couple of the mocks that I did, 7-round mocks. But that was one of their needs, was off-ball linebacker, though. So they went and got him.
Yeah. The Saints draft is interesting to me because I think that it's a study in that you need to view the draft as more than just the selections. You also have to factor in like opportunity cost. Like everything has a value. There's a reason why like trade charts exist, like trade value charts exist. And the Saints did not take any of that into account. Someone went back, and I don't remember the specific tweet or the specific compensation, but somebody went back and based on all the trades they did with the Eagles and then moving up to 11, figured out how much they had to give up just for Chris Olave. And it was like a first, 2 seconds, a third, and like a fifth. Like that's just not, it's just not good value. And he was the third wide receiver taken, So
Right.
I mean, maybe he was the number one wide receiver on their board. Again, I like the selection because I like the fit. I think I had Olave as my wide receiver 4 or 5. I like the fit, but again, it's just not good value. And I like that they went with wide receiver, offensive tackle. I think those were their 2 glaring needs. I think that was one where like the mock drafters kind of rejoiced because even though they didn't get the positioning right, they got the positions right for the Saints.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's just so I like the selections, but I don't like the strategy from a team building perspective. And I just don't like the value that they had to get up to get the guys that they did.
No quarterback, I know, was a big thing with people surrounding the Saints draft as well.
Yeah.
They signed Andy Dalton in free agency to be the backup to Jameis. Taysom Hill is officially transitioning to tight end. He will be the backup to Adam Troutman. So, but you're banking on a quarterback coming back from his second ACL tear of his career, third if you include college. He tore it at Florida State as well in the other leg. So, yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, they're trying to develop Ian Book as a 6th round selection from last year. It's asking a lot from Jameis.
Right. Yep.
And that's why I thought I don't really know where else I would have went with the first pick that they had, even if they would have stayed at 16. I thought maybe they would have went. I guess you really couldn't go pass rush again for a third consecutive year with your first pick, but that's where I would have thought about. Maybe defensive tackle if they would have traded up and drafted Jordan Davis at 11. I don't think there would have been any issues with that because Jameis was thriving with the receivers that they had. And they then added Jarvis Landry, obviously post draft, re-signed Traquan Smith. But Jameis was doing fine with Marquez Callaway, Traquan Smith, and other guys like Lil Jordan Humphrey and Kawan Baker.
Yeah. Well, and the assumption is that Michael Thomas will be back. And obviously we don't know if he's still that guy. But that's another guy who
we haven't seen him for 2 years.
Yeah.
But yeah. I guess so. I guess it's a good pick. I didn't really see the need for some reason. In my mind, it didn't make sense. But yeah, they got some good linebackers now, though, I guess. If your boy works out for him. Zach Bond.
Zach Bond. Dude. Zach Bond was a beast, man.
I didn't think it was a fit. I didn't think it was a fit when New Orleans drafted him. I liked him as an outside linebacker in a 3-4, not a 4-3 outside linebacker.
Yeah. Well, that's what he played at Wisco. He was a pure outside linebacker, and he was a really good one. And I guess they felt like he could transition to the off ball in their system. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Your grade for the New Orleans Saints with limited
I'm gonna
picks.
yeah. I'm gonna give it a C because again, even though if I maybe like the selection of Chris Olave and the fit, and Trevor Penning, I think he's also a good fit. Like I like to view everything from like a team building perspective, and I just don't think that this is the right way to do it. You gave up a bunch of value to kind of put on one guy, and it felt like a very win now move. And I mean, the Saints are, of course, playoff contenders, but I'm not ready to put them as Super Bowl favorites, unless unless prime Drew Brees walks through that door. He's just not. So even though I think Jameis has been a much better player than he was in Tampa, and I think he can be a quality starter for them, I just don't know how far this Saints team can go. And I think giving up as much value as they did for one piece just isn't the way to go about it. So,
And I think with limited competition now in the NFC, I don't think you can be an average, like a 9-8 team and get in. Because, I mean, you're going to have the Packers, Cowboys, Eagles, and then, the Rams, Niners, Cardinals.
Yeah. And the Bucks, in their own division. So
luckily, they're already 2-0 in 2022 because Tom Brady's never beaten them as a Buck. So, the Saints are already 2-0.
Right? Yeah.
The first 2-0.
Yeah, write it in Sharpie.
I got a Sharpie right here. We can do that. But let's go to the Bucks. Anyways, big story. Tom Brady returning this offseason from a 40-day retirement. Like I said, traded back. I want to say it's the Jags, and I was right because it's 33rd overall was the pick they got, so it was with the Jags. I just don't remember what the Jags traded up for.
Mm-hmm. They traded up for Devin Lloyd.
All right. But anyways, the Bucks, no first rounder, like I said. Second round, 2 picks, edge rusher Logan Hall, Houston, number 33. Guard Luke Gadecki. Is it Gadecki or Godke?
I think it's Gadecki.
Central Michigan, number 57. Third round, running back Rashad White, Arizona State, number 91. Fourth round, 2 picks, tight end Cade Otton, Washington, number 106. Punter Jake Camarda, Georgia, number 133. Fifth round, corner Zion McCollum, Sam Houston State, number 157. Sixth round, tight end Co Kieft, Minnesota, number 218. And then seventh round, linebacker Andre Anthony, LSU, number 248. Usually I would let you go, but I have a lot of strong opinions about the Bucks.
Go for it.
I thought the start was absolutely not good. Logan Hall, okay, that was pretty solid. They have been looking for a guy to eventually replace JPP. But they drafted Joe Tryon-Shoyinka last year, first round. He did all right. But they went back. They drafted another edge rusher high with their first pick this year. So that was kind of a question mark, I thought. I wasn't that great high on the Gadecki selection, nor the Rashad White selection.
Really?
I wasn't that I didn't really like Rashad White too much. Thought there was other players that they could have got My backpack's over there, the draft list on it, so I don't know who else was there. But yeah, I mean, they needed a guy to eventually replace Leonard Fournette as well. It's funny, the Bucks are always. I feel like every position, I'm just like, yeah, they need it. They need a guy to eventually replace these guys because the Bucks just aren't a team where they're drafting
Right.
to start right away. At least at this point in their team. But Jason Light really lit me up on day 3. Day 3, I thought the Bucks had one of the best drafts in the league on day 3. 4th round. I love K-Dot. I think he could be come in and start right away. I mean, why not? Maybe he's not a blocker like Cam Braid is or Gronk, who they haven't re-signed yet. But he's going to be your elite pass catching tight end that they want for whenever, if Gronk doesn't come back, they need a guy that can be a threat at tight end.
Yep.
Which, yeah, Cam Braid has been all right, but I think Kate Otten is going to be a lot better than what Cam Braid has been throughout his career so far. Obviously, my boy from Georgia, Jake Camarda. I was surprised to see him go all the way in the 4th round. Todd McShay said he had the punters correct in their order that got drafted. Jordan Stout to the Ravens, Camarda to the Bucks, and then Matt Araiza to the Bills. But they needed one. Actually, they didn't necessarily. Bradley Pinion is all right, I guess, but I think Jake Camarda will be pretty good for them. And then one of my other draft gems of the 3rd day, Zion McCollum, Sam Houston State in the 5th round, I thought was excellent value. And they didn't really need corner necessarily. Jamel Dean, Carlton Davis, Murphy Bunting, and Ross Cockrell are their 4. But why can't McCollum come in and be your slot corner of the future? And then the other guys, I didn't really like the O'Keefe. For one, I didn't know much about him. And for 2, I did not see a need to draft 2 tight ends.
Yeah.
When you could have signed a veteran.
Well, and they still have Braden O.J. Howard, right? So.
No, O.J. signed with the Bills.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's the backup in Buffalo.
Oh, I like that fit, actually. So I'm going to take a little bit of a more positive view for their day 2. I think what they're doing, so they needed a 3-tech to play next to Vita Vea. Logan Hall played 3-tech at Houston. Right now, he's undersized to play 3-tech at the NFL level. He's listed as 6'6", 283. But he's also kind of oversized to play that edge outside linebacker role. So I think what they're going to do, and I think why they drafted him, is that they're going to have him beef up a little bit, playing the 290-ish range, and hopefully be that penetrating pass rushing 3-tech that they want to play next to Vita Vea.
ESPN has him even lighter. ESPN
really?
has him at 275.
I'm going off. It's kind of jury's still out, I guess, on what he's at. I'm on NFL.com. But I think that's what they want him to be. And I like that fit because, again, I'm a big keep the guy in the position he was at in college. I don't like a lot of the transition stuff unless the guy's like a freak athlete, because I think then the transition's easier to other positions. I like drafting a guy for the position that he's most experienced with. And Logan Hall played a lot of 3-tech for Houston. So I liked that. The Bucks needed some interior O-line help. They lost who was it? Kappa and Marpet.
Mm-hmm.
And they replaced him with Gadecki and Shaq Mason. And I think that those are pretty good. That's still a very good O-line they have. And then the Rashad White pick. I agree with you. I wasn't as high on him, but I love the fit. And here's why. I think he can be that pass catching back that they've desperately needed in this offense. Leonard Fournette has shown. What was that?
That they thought Keyshawn was going to be.
Right. Exactly. I think
they have Gio.
Yeah. I think he can step in and be that guy right away. They'll still give the rock to Leonard as their primary back. And I mean, he's shown some promise as a pass catcher, but I think Rashad White can be that pure pass rushing back that they've been looking to get. And then, like you said, their day 3 was great. I like K. Dotton for the fit, as some Gronk insurance in case he retires. And I think unless he's just holding out so he doesn't have to do training camp, he can just kind of show up regular season, which, I wouldn't put it past him. And he kind of deserves that, to be honest, for just how well he's been able to play longevity wise. But I like that pick. And Zion McCollum, man, just sitting there at 157, I'm looking at his relative athletic scorecard. He had a 9.99. So damn near a perfect score. Ran a 4.33 at 6'2", 200.
You want to know what ESPN has him at?
What?
Massive. 6'4", 195. Good Lord.
Well, whatever it is, he is a big dude who can run fast. And and he has a good agility score. 3.94 shuttle, 6.48 3-cone. That's in the 99th percentile. So, you get a guy like that at pick 157. Like you said, if he becomes your slot corner of the future, at minimum, he's an exceptional athlete who can be used on special teams. What I like about this draft, and again, from a team building perspective, is this is a championship roster that had some holes in the offseason, and with pretty much all of their picks, they filled it. So yeah, I like it. I'm going to give it probably a B plus, because I think that Gadecki was a reach. And there is some worry that Hall, he's kind of a tweener, and those guys don't typically pan out. So he's going to have to either beef up or, shed some weight to play at the next level. But, I like what they did in terms of their draft strategy.
Yeah, I was just checking on Spot Track right now. They do have a decision to make. And of course, it's not wanting to look to find Sean Murphy Bunting for some reason. I don't know what they have him in the system as, but it's not Sean Murphy Bunting apparently. But they do have a decision. I saw Jamel Dean as a free agent next year. So I think that was definitely a part of the Zion McCollum thing. Let me try to find Murphy Bunting, because he is still on his rookie deal as well, I believe. Or did they re-sign him? Why? What is he making? Is he making less than some of these draft picks? No way. Unless he's just he's not in the system. Yeah. Spot Track does not have anyone named Sean Murphy Bunting Let me see if I can try to just look for Sean on this roster here. Yeah, I am not seeing him yet.
So over the cap has his base salary for 2022 is 2.5 million.
Is he a free agent next year?
Yes. Yep. 2023.
That's what I thought. That's what
Yep.
I thought, that both of them were free agents next year. So that's necessitated the McCollum drafting. That'll be an interesting decision that Jason Light has to make.
Mhm.
Because he can't keep both.
Right.
Whether they keep one at all might depend on how McCollum plays this year. So, but anyways, your grade for the Bucks.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go solid B, maybe inching B plus, because again, I like the draft strategy. But like I said, I think Kadeki was a reach. Not a huge reach, but a reach. And again, I do have some worries about Logan Hall being able to beef up or shed weight to be able to play at whatever position he does at the next level. But I like the draft strat. I like the fits and the positions of need that they filled.
At least he's got a solid person to learn from in Akeem Hicks now.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
But quarterback, I don't think was more this year than it was last year until they drafted Kyle Trask. But I thought that maybe some people were thinking about it, especially when Tom Brady retired. But when he came back, they were like, all right, they don't need a quarterback this year.
Yeah.
So, and we don't know what Kyle Trask is yet, because looked like absolute trash in the preseason. But anyways, next week we should be on Monday, I think, as long as the crew can make a Monday show next week. But yeah, we'll be back. We'll be recapping USFL Week 9, previewing the final week of the USFL regular season, Week 10. Be back with all the NCAA NFL news, and we will continue the 8th round with the NFC West. Hopefully Debo doesn't get traded by then, but we'll see. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio.